And welcome back, trainers, to the Pokerus podcast.
Podcast.
Yeah, special postseason episode 1. That's what it's going to be. Episode 1.0, 1.1. I don't know. It's the episode.
2.0?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, so obviously it's yours truly. It's me, wild card. And
And Zacchaeus is back. What's up,
yeah,
peeps?
Zacchaeus is joining us by popular demand. We've heard some good stuff about him, and we do enjoy having him. And with a combined record of 16-0, both of us are your beautiful, wonderful host here. We're gonna enjoy the weekend. Well, I guess not. Maybe not. We're gonna enjoy some battles. I guess we'll be casting, right? We'll be commentating on the beautiful playoff matches this weekend. Now that the regular season's done, right? It's time to move into the postseason, right? The real season, as they call it. But I guess before we can truly do that, I guess I should ask you then, Zacchaeus. What's been your thoughts, man, about this regular season so far? So how's it played? How compared to your expectations coming into a league and kind of 8 games in, basically a whole month, right? It's been 4 weekends. So how do you feel?
No, it's been pretty good. It's been a lot of fun. I did as well as I had hoped I would do.
Well, you didn't know. Okay, you didn't know. All right.
I mean, going into it pretty nervous, but I was able to pull them through so far. Well, guess we'll see how the playoffs go. I do have to say though, all of the matches we have coming up are going to be really interesting.
They really are, yeah, and that's the beauty of the playoffs now. No disrespect to anybody that's out of it, and we hope that those of you that are not in the playoffs, we hope you guys continue supporting us, continue watching, continue just interacting or whatever it is. And either way, we hope when this is all done, a lot of you guys, and some of you have already shown interest of coming back for a following season and just kind of making this a reoccurring thing. But yeah, as Zacchaeus said, man, we got there's some juicy playoff games coming up. But I guess before we delve into that too much, let's go back to the regular season real quick. The last week, we essentially had kind of a indo facto kind of playoff game. We had a Ricky versus Juan, right? We had the Pachirisis Cups versus the Pikachuis, and it was essentially...
We highlighted that last week, that it was going to determine who actually made it in, and now we have our answer.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. We thought it would likely come down to the winner of that one would likely grab one of the playoff spots, and the way the math ended up working out, that is exactly the way it turned out. I mean, so I guess we'll start with that one. What did you see from that one, Zacchaeus?
Dude, okay, that match was actually so close. It was pretty insane to watch. There was just this one play, it was like one of the last 3 turns. Pachirisis Cups Manaphy was like at 10% health or something, like really low, and the Pikachuis send in Rotom. I can only assume that they clicked Overheat to hit the Manaphy, but Parasect on Pachirisis Cup's team clicked Rage Powder, and that allowed the Manaphy to knock out 2 Pokemon in 1 turn and completely flip the tides of the game.
Yeah, he's... Okay, it's a little behind the scenes thing. So Ricky had been experimenting, right, with the Parasect of Manaphy, right? I believe you guys had kind of, messed around and practiced and everything, and I think you guys had kind of, not necessarily if it's a full scrimmage, but just kind of, right, we're working around with it, and he had shown me...
Oh, no, we had a full scrimmage. He freaking 6-0'd me, dude.
Yeah, okay, I was trying to be nice about it, but yeah, he was doing
good.
some work with the, it looks like he's finding his rhythm of the Parasect, right, with the, he's really learning how to use it well, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about that a little bit more when we talk about keys to this upcoming weeks, but, yeah, we'll have the game playing in the background as you guys are watching or hearing this. Yeah, that Parasect with the kind of, right, the wide guard and being able to spore everything, it's
Yeah, I think it was like Wide Guard, Spore, Rage Powder, and I want to say Leaf Blade, but it might have been X Scissor. It was like 1 stat.
Dude, I don't even think he used an attacking move. Even when I watched the playback with you, I don't think I ever saw an attacking move. I don't think it needs to, right? Like, so it does really well. Like I said, we'll probably bring that up a little bit more in the upcoming thing. But yeah, man, that looks like Ricky again. Another reason why I personally said I wouldn't like to have to play him in the playoffs. Is going to be a very dangerous opponent in doubles as well. So congrats to him. You know, he ended up getting that win, and so basically ensured him. Now I did play him in singles. I was able to I didn't have to sweat it as much as I had to do in our doubles matchup. So I was able to kind of get him there in singles and ensure that that's how I ended up getting to 8-0 as well as Zacchaeus. But Zacchaeus had a better KO differential, so that's why he's sitting in the 1 seed, and I'm sitting at the way down here in the 2
Okay,
seed. Way down over here.
there.
Yeah, way down here, man. With the
You
with
get the
with
week off
scrubs.
too, bro.
Yeah, so I guess before we wrap that up, then I guess over the weekend, then guys. So is Parasect in there? Or who's it? What do you have as your MVPs throughout all the matches this weekend? This past weekend.
So yeah, that Parasect play that I highlighted earlier was definitely among some of the best plays of the week. But the most valuable Pokemon, I think, actually has to go to another player who just barely clinched that, secured his spot in the playoffs, and that is Magikarp's Starmie. I having a little bit of trouble remembering the game at this moment, but Starmie took out, I think, 3 to 4 Pokemon on the opponent's team, and it just, had he not brought it, I don't think he would have performed as well. It was, the moveset was very tailored to his opponent appropriately, and it was just executed very well.
Right. Yeah, I think I kind of remember what you're talking about, but it did put in some work. It really, man, it shows how well Starmie is, man. And do you know if he was running the analytic or was he running the natural cure?
He's, to be honest, I don't think once it came in, it switched out, and it was there until the game was over, I believe, so I don't know.
Right.
I would have to assume it's analytic, but I don't think we had enough information to have a definite answer on that.
Yeah,
without
that
asking
just
him.
kind of shows how powerful it was then, right? We don't know if it even had that extra 30% boost because it was just kind of hitting things that hard. So, yeah, I think that's fair enough. And so, with that entire regular season out of the way then, we can look forward to the playoffs as I hopefully remember to pull it up here. So, as you guys can see here, we have pull it up. Okay, so we'll end up having the Miami Heatrons. So we're gonna take on the Magikarpets, and the Mighty Psyducks are gonna take on the Pachirisus Cups. Those are gonna be your 2 playoff games. Those are gonna be some just wonderful content. Hopefully, it looks like. As a reminder, to anybody that's gonna watch it or to the players themselves, both players that are hosting the 3 and the 4 seed have wanted the first and third game to be singles matchups, with the second game will be doubles. Remember, it's a best 2 out of 3. It'll all be played kind of in one session. Obviously, good luck to all those players. Man, that's gonna be pretty interesting. So both of the seeds that hosted preferred doubles as their preferred format. That's gonna be pretty interesting to kind of see the dynamic of what if it goes to game 3, right? Like you've seen what your opponent has brought. You can swap up your entire team if you want to. You can swap up moves. You can do whatever you want. So I guess we'll go with that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that whole dynamic is going to be insanely interesting. As we'll talk about in a few minutes, the games in detail, I actually have in my notes for both matches that the team who I feel might be slightly less favored in the singles is probably, in my opinion, highly favored for doubles. So that almost guarantees, of course, variance or we're not playing the game already, but at least on paper, it looks like we're going to be getting a game 3 for both of these games, at least in my opinion.
Okay. So there's a sneak peek as far as for when I asked you for your prediction on it, as far as a winner and in how many games. So the first game we'll go ahead and look at, then we'll highlight, is the number 3 seed Miami Heat Trends versus the number 6 seed Magic Carpets. So Magic Carpets coached by Stosie Time and Miami Heat Trends coached by D. So we'll pop up these rosters here. All right, Zakai. So what do you give me the details on this one, man? Break it down for me.
So, I don't really want to just straight up predict a team because I don't want to, I guess, effectively do it for the players. Not that I think that they wouldn't, think it through themselves. But one thing that, just hard fact, both of these players have their S tier, their Dragon. They've brought it for 100% of their matches, singles and doubles. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing the Garchomp versus the Salamence. I don't see a reason for them to break that trend now. So, yeah.
And both of these players, because these guys are both from the same division, right? They're both from the level ball division, and they've both beat each other once already. They've both, I believe, D back in week 1 won in the singles matchup with the Magic Carpets, kind of before they went on this hot streak a little bit, finishing the season 3-1 to end up 3-3. Because I believe they started on 2, or they finished season 4-4, I believe, after starting 1-3 or something like that. I don't remember, but
yeah.
The Magic Carpets beat the Miami Heat Trends 3-0 in the doubles matchup. So it's kind of right, there's a prediction to say, okay, well, they might do the same thing. They might run it back like that, and it goes to a third game. This is where the Miami Heat Trends having the advantage of, okay, well, if I just hold serve in my singles matchups, because essentially the Magic Carpets will have to take the game off of singles, right? They'll have to win. They couldn't do it in the regular season. They'll have to take one at least. That's assuming they hold the second game. So they're going to need to take one, which they have the roster. They're able to, but this is where you see 2 of the Dragons that were taken early because that division was, that division picked first. So, yeah, how you're saying the Garchomp and Salamence, I wouldn't see that trend changing. Even if it goes to all 3 games, I wouldn't. They're such great anchors. I don't want to say their whole team revolves around it, but they're such great anchors, and they have such great sweeping abilities. Plus, their teams are so well rounded out that.
Yeah, they both are pretty well rounded out. I think one of the only quote unquote weaknesses I see for Miami Heat Trans team is he doesn't really have a good answer to special attackers. I mean, he has the Dusknoir, but that's about it. And without reliable recovery, that is going to it's going to be has the potential to be worn down and taken out. But on the other side, you could say the exact same thing about Magic Carpets, but on the physical side. Most of their dudes are specially oriented for defense, minus the Heatran, I think. And are you gonna bring Heatran against the Salamence and Sandslash? I don't know.
Yeah, possible Rotom Wash, right? Counters it very well, very easily. Now it does beat the Magnezone, right? It can beat the Magnezone, obviously. So, I mean, as far as if we're looking at A tiers, if we're looking at, I mean, did you have any other notes on this before I try and predict what each one could bring or what we think could work?
So, I believe that Miami Heat Trans actually won't bring the Magnezone. And the reason I say that is if you look at Magic Carpet's team, he has a total of 2 electric immunities. And he already has the Rotom, which I think as an answer to Garchomp, potentially Vaporeon, Togekiss, Starmie, it's too valuable. Like that electric is so valuable, but it's also with 2 immunities, how much do you want to commit to it?
Well, he's got one, doesn't he? It's just a Garchomp, right?
Raichu gets Lightning Rod.
Oh yeah, he could run the Lightning Rod. Yeah, I guess that's a good point, but I guess it depends on the format. I mean, if you're in doubles, I don't think he brings Raichu over Slacking. In my opinion, I think the Slacking, obviously, with the Weezing, likely comes. And as far as... I mean, I see him definitely bringing the Raichu in the singles. It could actually be a very good... It can put in some work, right? It's something that can... You know, Salamence has to be careful not to come in on it and just immediately get T-waved or something, right? Or get nuzzled, or... you know, when your C tier can kind of scare your opponent like that a little bit. Rotom Wash, like, doesn't want to too much, right? It probably won't lose to the Raichu, but if you make that Raichu bulky enough or predict, you know, you can, that Raichu can do some work. But
yeah, if you give the Raichu a Lightning Rod boost, it's gonna do damage.
But I think when Electric beats 3 of your opponent's 4 A tiers, I think you kind of, it forces your hand. You kind of have to, in my opinion, I think you have to, for sure, I think you have to bring the Rotom Wash, because Rotom Wash can still check the Garchomp, you can still Will-O-Wisp him, right? You can still, you don't have to predict and click Hydro Pump if you wanted to, and Garchomp still can't come out. I don't even know why Garchomp would want to come in on it, but it can always scare the Garchomp out. It can always scare anything with the Will-O-Wisp. So I think Rotom Wash is a must. Now, the Magnezone's one that you can kind of say, okay, well, right, do we bring it or do we not? Me personally, I would probably bring it, because even then, like, what's Raichu gonna do to the Magnezone? You can kind of predict and kind of maybe go the long way, right? And just kind of like Flash Cannon, unless the Raichu is gonna be a physical variant that's just got like Brick Break or something. It would have to be a very kind of funky Raichu to beat the Magnezone.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of, the Raichu doesn't pose a threat to the things that it could. Now the Garchomp can, as far as the Magnezone, obviously, but Rotom Wash to me still can beat the Garchomp, assuming the Rotom Wash stays relatively healthy, and if it's not some type of like choice band outrage Garchomp or something like that. So I don't know. I'm kind of looking at it on paper, and I just, D has 2 of the best electric types in the entire format, and unfortunately, the Magikarpits, I mean, 3 of your 4 types, I mean, literally, Rotom Wash alone beats all of Magikarpit. He beats all four of the Magikarpit's A tiers. He beats all 4 of them. I mean, it's like one Mon can put so much pressure. Like the Magikarpits, they're gonna need to bring, like, he needs, in my opinion, he needs to like bring a Roserade. He needs to bring, right, how you're saying that maybe the Raichu, like he needs to find a way to try and scare out that Rotom Wash, because man, none of his A tiers can do anything. I mean, they're always gonna be checked. That's tough.
Yeah. One interesting note I actually didn't write down, but I'm just noticing. Miami Heatrans has, I think, no, for sure, his team has the most Intimidates out of any other squad that's constructed out of the 12 teams.
What's the guy's got like 4 of them? Salamence,
Arcanine,
yeah. Oh no, Swallow doesn't have it, so he's got 3 of them, right? I'm thinking Staraptor. Yeah.
But Magikarpit's team is like, I feel like if he plays this the way I would, his team is all special anyway. So I wonder how much, like, or maybe he feels differently. Maybe he will bring physical sets. I don't know. It's just the team building in this, especially for singles, is just really gonna be so interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and it was such a polar, I believe. Let me check this. So D, I mean, he barely beat. So Miami Heatrans barely beat the Magikarpits at first. It was 1-0, and in the return game, he actually beat him 4-0. So the Magikarpits won the doubles match at 4-0. So and it also could be, as we saw, like, you know, still see the Magic Carpets down the end of the line. You know, they've been on a good, you know, kind of winning streak, with the only loss being to the Mighty Psyducks with Gilbert, which, you know, I guess there's no shame in that, because, you know, he's been beating almost everybody. It's like, maybe he's found out, right, how to use the team, and he's kind of done real well with it. So I almost don't know. Like, I would almost, how you say, I guess if I had to look at it on paper, I would think D has the advantage. But if you look at recent form and just like the fact that they just last played, you know, 2 weekends ago now, and, you know, the Magic Carpets, they just did work. I mean, they won 4-0, you know, and maybe that's because he likes his team a lot better in doubles. I don't know, which obviously is why D probably, you know, that's right, for strategic reasons, and that's what he's comfortable with, and likely just said, yeah, you know what, games 1 and games 3, we're gonna do singles, because who knows, maybe Magic Carpets, if they were the better seed, I don't know, if I was him, I'd probably say, yeah, give me games 1 and game 3 in doubles. Like, I'd like the doubles format, but obviously it didn't work that way, you know. So I don't know, it's gonna be very interesting, man. You got a team that's got all the momentum. Both of these guys have very great rosters. I mean, they've constructed really great rosters. Give them full credit for that. And man, I think it's just how you said it. I'm excited to watch both of these games. I'm excited. We'll get to the other game here in a minute, but I really don't know what's gonna happen in this set. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know. Like, in my notes, I highlighted Starmie, Roserade, Vaporeon, Togekiss, Raichu, Garchomp for Magic Carpets. On the other end, for Miami Heatrans, gone over the Salamence. We went over Rotom. I highlighted Tangrowth, Arcanine, Dusknoir, Golduck. The things that Miami Heatrans has been doing with his Golduck as of late, in addition to the fact that it's a fantastic check for the Magic Carpet's Garchomp, makes me think it could really do well. The Ice Beam also hits like Roserade, Togekiss, and Honchkrow, I think, really well. Starmie being faster than Salamence without a Scarf too is actually huge. I mean, Garchomp's faster than Salamence too, so if you force it to run a Scarf, like, I don't know. It's a lot easier to play around if you force it to run a Scarf, but he doesn't even technically have to.
Yeah.
He could still find a way to set up or force a switch on a slower Mon. Just because he has faster Pokemon doesn't necessarily mean, you know, they're going to end up out on the field against each other. Dusknoir is low-key insane, aside from the fact that, like I said earlier, it's a good special wall. It also checks a good chunk of his opponent's team. It gets Ice Punch, it gets Earthquake, and Shadow Sneak is good for dealing with Starmie. It gets Thunder Punch, so you can hit like Starmie, Vaporeon. Dude, they just... If I were on either side of this, personally, I think I'd have a lot of fun team building, and I really hope they do too, because this is a gem.
Yeah, you know, and as we wrap this one up, to move on to the next one, I gotta ask you a question then. So do you think, with the way that the Magic Carpets have been playing, right, do you think, and with game 2 being the doubles matchup, do you think in game 1, do you think all the pressure is on D? Do you think he feels like, because think about it, now if Magic Carpets win, right, they won in what is D's preferred format, now they're gonna go to doubles, and now, like, D's got to be thinking, like, man, I just lost in singles. The last time I played this guy, I lost a whopping 4-0, right? Like, I've essentially lost the format advantage that I wanted. Like, do you think it's kind of on D to hold serve? You know what I mean? It's more of, I know we were talking about earlier of, like, oh yeah, you know, Magic Carpets, like, they have to take a game. Or do you look at it as, you know, the Miami Heatrans, is he thinking, like, man, I kind of gotta, like, I gotta hold serve, man. I need to, like, just make sure, like, which way do you look at it? You know what I mean? Who do you think the pressure? I think the pressure is on D game 1. I think there's gonna be, like, he's gonna have to feel like he kind of has to win that one, because I mean, you've already, like, as I stated, right, you've already lost to him a couple weeks ago 4-0 now. When you did beat him, you barely beat him 1-0 to begin with. And I don't know. What do you think? What do you think?
I think it could go either way. Like, hearing you say that out loud, that totally makes sense. But if I were in Miami Heatran's position, given the fact that I feel more confident in singles, I'd say, okay, you know what? Even if I lose the singles, if I can just like study up hard enough on the doubles match and manage to take it this time, that gives me a second chance at what I'm strongest at. So I think, I mean, like, if he loses the first one, that does create a much more stressful game too. But if I were in his shoes, I'd just be thinking, I gotta pick up one of these first 2 games and I can pull it through the third time.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. And so, all right, so prediction time then as we wrap up this game. What do you think, so who do you got, and how many games? Who's your winner?
Dude, this is hard. I think Magic Carpets is possibly set up for an upset, but dude, I don't know. I think I have to go with Magic Carpets. I think if he builds his team correctly, Miami Heatran's just doesn't have enough solid answers, and I mean that could be said both ways. So
okay, so how many games? How many do you think he's gonna win in? 2 games? Gonna be a 2-0 sweep, or do you think he wins it in 3?
I think it's gonna go to a game 3.
So game 3. So who wins game 1?
I think D will probably pick up game 1. I think Magic Carpets has, I mean, he's already shown the capacity to win. The doubles,
okay,
of course we'll see, but I think he's going to take the doubles. And then I think that after seeing what Miami Heatran's brings game 1, Magic Carpets might be able to adjust his team enough to pull it through.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, mine is the complete opposite. I think, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if I just never saw it and I just see the result and it's like, oh, Magic Carpets won. Like, just because the role he's been on, him kind of, when you look at the 2 results put together, he's a net positive 3 against the Miami Heatrans. I think each one's I think it's gonna go to 3 games. I think the Miami Heatrans will pull it out. I think until otherwise, I think they're gonna hold serve in the format that they kind of beat each other, and I think Miami Heatrans will win a narrow one. I think it's literally gonna be like the regular season. I think Miami Heatrans wins a narrow one. However, in the second game, I think the Magic Carpets win a narrow one. I don't think it's gonna be another 4-0, and then I think the third game, for some reason, I don't see that one being as close. I think it'll be like a 3-0 win by D, and so he'll win the series overall 2-1, and that would actually put him on a date with yours truly over here next week if he does end up winning that one. But I don't know.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either. Like, it's hard to like pick, but if I had to, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's literally, I don't know if I want to say a coin flip, but it's one of those things that if Pokemon does Pokemon things of like, oh, this guy missed, or oh, this did this, or oh, there's a crit here, like that literally could just make all the difference, because I think that's how close both of these players are, and that's just how well both of these players have been playing, where it would be unfortunate, don't get me wrong, but I would not doubt if that kind of makes the entire difference, you know what I mean? So
that, yeah, I totally see that.
Yeah, good stuff there. And so we transition on to the second game. Obviously, we don't know yet what order these games will be played in, but the second game we have lined up is the 4-seed Mighty Psyducks, coached by Gilbert, versus the Pachirisis Cups, hosted by Ricky. Another one that should be fun. I think, just get the monkey out of the way, I think Gilbert's likely going to be heavily favored here, but I'm telling you, if there's somebody that could slay Goliath, you made me put my money on an underdog. Like, if you said, oh, Ricky, you know what I mean, give me the odds of what Ricky, I think he could make a Cinderella type run. Like I said, I personally don't want to have to play him. And just give us some notes then, Zacchaeus, on why. Like, what makes this matchup tricky or good for either player?
Okay, so I'm actually going to start with doubles, because we kind of touched on that already.
Mm-hmm.
Pachirisu's Cups not only highly prefers that format, but his team is just so geared toward performing well in it that if the format was swapped and doubles were first and second, I think there's actually a very low chance that Mighty Cydex can win this. However, that's not how this is. So, one really important factor, and we actually know for a fact because rosters have been locked, Pachirisu's Cups does not have any entry hazards, and lacking that it really hurts against the Mighty Cydex. One of the advantages that Ricky's team has over Gilbert's is it's very mobile. He has like 4 to 6 U-turn / Volt Switch users on his team. And I think Mighty Cydex actually does not have a single one. I think every one of his switches has to be a hard switch. So momentum for Pachirisu's Cups is so easy to build. However, without the entry hazards, he can't capitalize on it, and that's it's so painful.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very... Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. That's actually a very interesting point. I didn't think about that. And we're obviously talking about for the singles, right? Because momentum's usually a little bit more important in the singles matchup. Because I feel in the doubles with Ricky doing Parasect stuff, and he's kind of... I think I would actually be a little bit more shocked on that one if Gilbert won it. I wouldn't... Or I don't know how to put that. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if he won it, but I would favor Ricky in doubles. Kind of to piggyback off of your point of, right, if Ricky could choose the format and it was first and third gamer doubles, then yeah, I'd probably say, you know what, Ricky actually has probably, a little bit better than 50-50 to win this entire series, because I could see him holding serve, right, in both doubles. But back to the point on singles, though, I guess we had to point out singles matchup points there. That is a very good point. Yeah, I didn't really notice how much kind of momentum Ricky could have against Gilbert, you know what I mean? And that'll be really interesting to see how Ricky keeps up that momentum, because I think that could be where he gets him, because Gilbert has a habit, and it's a very smart habit. I'm surprised we don't see it more. He has a habit of always throwing choice items on his mons. And so that's what, like, I noticed, for example, when we were first starting, like when he played you, Zacchaeus, he struggled if somebody uses Protect, because those choice items are meant to catch somebody off guard. Now, you can't always, you know what I mean? You don't know if they have a choice item simply by Protect, but you know that if this mon stayed in, right, that's normally slower than another mon, and that mon could knock it out. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, Weavile wouldn't normally knock out a fighting type, but the Weavile stays in and he uses a move against your fighting type, you can likely deduce that Weavile is banded, and he's going to use a move that he's done the calcs is likely going to knock you out in one hit, because he's not going to keep the Weavile in just to chip you and then lose the Weavile. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You can
totally.
you can get great information from the Protect. Or obviously, if a mon is threatened by another mon and his mon is slower but he keeps it in, well, you know, hey, that thing's scarfed, right? That Entei is scarfed. Why is it staying in against the Starmie? Is an example, right? Like it shouldn't be staying in. Well, it's because he's scarfed. It's not going to leave it out if he knew he was slower. So the thing is with Ricky, though, if Ricky could keep getting momentum, the thing is, it doesn't matter the coverage that these mons have, because if Gilbert locks himself into these choice items, which is a habit that he likes to do, I wonder if that could be the downfall. It could end up backfiring depending on how Ricky plays, and if he plays it well and reads it well, because he can, almost how you're saying, he can essentially just kind of get Gilbert chasing into the game, like, okay, well, I got to switch into this, that beats it, or I'm locked into this move now, and now he sent out something that resists it, and Ricky can kind of keep playing the game of like, well, like, I know you're locked into this move, dude, like, I know you're locked into... It's really... Gilbert has to be careful, because if Ricky gets the momentum going, he essentially could get it to where, like, if he gets... This is just an example. If he gets Zapdos versus Weavile, and Gilbert, or, I don't know, somebody else, and Gilbert's hard switches into Weavile to beat the Zapdos, but then the Zapdos U-turns, right? I don't know if it gets Volt Switch, but I would assume
it does get Volt Switch and U-turns.
Right.
So actually, Apoino was going to bring up the 2 ground types on Mighty Cydex team. If he decides to run the U-turn, don't even block that.
Yeah, I would run the U-turn, because there's nothing you would want to hit Volt Switch on except for the Slow Pro, and even then and the Sharpedo, and even then you would rather just U-turn anyways, you know what I mean, and not have to worry about immunity, because U-turn's going to be super effective. You won't get the stab, and it won't be as strong as a special type, but you're still, you know what I mean, you're still going to get super effective damage off on it. The only one it wouldn't worry about is the Murkrow, but you're not going to see Murkrow in singles matchup. But let me give you this example, is if the Weavile's expecting, if the Weavile's banded, for example, and you can U-turn and get out of there. I don't know how this would work because Weavile's faster, but what I'm saying is, like, let's say you get a banded Weavile and the Manaphy comes out. Well, if the Weavile's using Ice Shard or Icicle Crash, like, if that Manaphy comes out bulky, which I don't see why it wouldn't, like, for example, most of Gilbert's Mons are, his main ones that hit are physical attackers. They're all on the physical side. So even then, you know, I know Ricky, and Gilbert will do his homework on it, trust me. So he'll run like Brick Break and stuff. But Ricky, the Zapdos with Reflect is going to be very good. But what I'm saying is, with the choice items getting locked in, Ricky has the opportunity to tell Glow. That's all I'm saying. We all know how nasty that is on Manaphy. Like, Ricky's gonna get the opportunity to tell Glow, and it'll just be interesting to see how he runs the Manaphy. But I mean, obviously he's gonna bring it. Obviously Gilbert's gonna try and plan around it. Gilbert has no electric types, however, or any grass types, so there's nothing stab that's gonna hit it. But
you want to know what's interesting?
What's that?
The same thing can be said about Pachiri's cups for Cress. He does not have a single stab to hit that Cress.
And yeah, and that's why I think in singles, that's where I think Gilbert is. It's, I don't know how does he deal with the Crest? How does he in singles? I don't know what he does. I mean, the Crest is gonna be able to set up all the screens in the world. I don't know. How does Ricky beat? How does he beat the Cresselia?
Entry hazards would help a lot. I don't know.
He has none of those. Yeah, I don't know. I
think like with constant U-turn or Volt Switch, like barraging, he can alternate in between his Pokemon, throw in Ambipom to fake out U-turn enough times to like really chip it down and just like effectively halt the game there. But if Mighty Psyduck, on the other hand, does get his rocks up, that game's just going to be over so fast. Pachiri's Cups does not have a way to get rid of the Stealth Rock once they're out. I think
without a doubt. I'm going to call it right now. Donphan's the lead in this game in singles. I would be shocked if Donphan doesn't come out first. I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to be a Donphan lead.
I totally agree. And then you have like Zapdos or Staraptor Defog, and that's it.
Yeah, and they're going to take a chunk before they can even come out in Defog anyways. And that's why I just think in singles, that's tough. I mean, I would almost advise for Gilbert, you know, and obviously he knows what he's doing. He's a good battler. Hell, I'd be honest with you, I consider running Stealth Rocks and doubles as well. I literally, I think it would be worth using a move on that, of just taking one turn to Stealth Rock, because I don't think Ricky's going to run Defog in doubles. Like, you just usually don't run that, you know? So
yeah,
the only time you usually run is if you know your opponent has a sticky web setter. But I mean, I don't know. I don't. You know, but I still think it's gonna be a good matchup, even in doubles. I still think Ricky can do it in doubles. I believe he can do it in doubles. I guess I'll go with my prediction first. I think it's gonna be another 3-game. I almost have with what you led with. You know what I mean? I think both of these series go to 3 games, and I think it's just, again, right. And for future maybe players that watch these videos or whatever, this is also why it's important to try and win your division or be able to host the seed, because I truly believe if Ricky was able to host this and said, hey, I want games 1 and 3 to be doubles, I would give him a 50-50. And there's not many people that when they play Gilbert, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, when they play the Mighty Psyducks, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, this could go either way. This is 50-50. Like, I usually, you know, I try and be, you know, non-biased about it, but Ricky really would. He really would have the opportunity to do it, but I just don't know how Gilbert is just so skilled. He's kind of got the advantage in singles as well. Like, I don't know how maybe that's one of those that if Ricky beats him in the first game, I don't know. it's gonna be very interesting with us watching it. Like, how does that second game go? Does Ricky like? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm kind of at a loss for words, I guess. But in my opinion, I think it's gonna go to 3 games, and I think it's gonna be a game 1. I think Gilbert's gonna win it pretty handily, if I'm honest. I think he'll win it like 4-0. I think Crest is gonna be able to just T-wave anything it wants to. Flygon won't even be able to come out on it, because I'm sure the Crest will probably have Ice Beam as well. I can see the Crest having dual screens, T-wave, and Ice Beam. I just wouldn't be shot like that. I don't know why. I mean, Gilbert would probably tell you, I don't know why it wouldn't run those 4 moves. Like, there's really no reason. There's nothing it's gonna do to the Manaphy anyways, so it's not like you would need coverage on that. Just run those 4 moves. That's really all you need. It's probably gonna have Light Player, probably have leftovers more than likely. It's gonna have lefties, and so I think he wins it pretty handily. In the second game, like I said, I do think Ricky takes him. I think Ricky can take it like 2-0 if he just kind of keeps cycling some stuff. And then the third game, I think Gilbert just takes it again. He probably doesn't have to change stuff from his first game. I don't. And just because maybe because it's also like I have this lasting impression of like I also just played Ricky in singles, and it wasn't as close as like our first game. Now that game was actually really fun, the one that him and I played, because there was a lot of hacks both ways. We joked around like we've never seen 2 players get unlucky in a match, which is weird, right? One's unlucky, one, like, but like that one wasn't, you know, and I'm always honest, like that one wasn't as difficult as the doubles one. The doubles one, man, I knew it was gonna be tough. Like I said, I still feel I got lucky. He always messages me every time I say that, so I'm being honest though, Ricky. I'm not trying to gas you up or anything, but he's such a tough opponent in doubles. But man, I just don't know how he does in singles. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he's as good in singles, and the problem is, in my opinion, he's probably playing one of the best players that we have in singles in this entire league, and so that doesn't bode well. And the fact is, even then, his singles team doesn't look like it would be. So to round off, I think 4-0 Mighty Cydex first game, 2-0 Pachirisus Cups and doubles the second game, and then give me a meet in the middle, a 3-0 in game 3. Mighty Cydex will advance, and if that's the case with my prediction, he would actually go on to play you if D ends up winning his matchup. What say you? What say you, Zacchaeus?
I can't disagree. I think there's like a 40-60 for game 1. I think Pachirisus Cups might be able to outplay Gilbert, like just based on the moves, all the swapping, and like how annoying all of his stuff can be. I think there's a possibility. However, the teams just, for singles, they don't stack up. I think Gilbert Mighty Cydex has to be favored for the singles match. And while I would say the complete opposite, I think Pachirisus Cups is totally favored for doubles. The fact that there are 2 singles matches and 1 doubles match is, I have to agree with you. I just don't know if the way his squad was finalized as, I don't know if it can handle even just breaking the Crest. Like, Crest plus Stealth Rock is such a problem. It's such an uphill battle already.
Yeah, because it's not even like you can say, oh, well, I'll chip it with some U-turns or something. Like, well, you're probably actually going to take more damage coming in and out with Stealth Rock.
Most of his Pokemon are weak to it.
Yeah.
Like, you have Rapidash, you have Staraptor, you have Zapdos. Ambipom is something that wants to come in and get out, but if it's taking 1/8 of its health every time it switches in, that's a problem. And Manaphy, like, is a really good anchor. It's super threatening, but I don't think Manaphy is enough to take the match, you know, or the game.
If Ricky can hold off on using the Manaphy until as late as possible, and then set up a Tailglow near the end game, I think he has a chance. But if it's something where he has to switch to Manaphy, because, I mean, that's where it's tough. His only other answer could be to immediately pressure the Cresselia out, maybe with the Manaphy. You're almost guaranteed to get 2 Tailglows up. So you could run a subset, I guess. You know, maybe you go Surf, Ice Beam, Sub, Tailglow, right? You could run that, because that Crest is just going to Thunder Wave everything. So if
That's true, but doesn't Water Absorb Quagsire wall that set if it's specially defensive? I mean, it's not going to want to take a +3 Tail Glow, but it gets Haze.
the Quag does,
Yeah.
yeah, and the Quag does, and that's the problem when you run the. Actually, I wouldn't even run Ice Beam. Why are you running Ice Beam? You could run the Energy Ball, and you're faster.
That's true.
Yeah, so I guess the Manaphy would run Surf, Energy Ball, Sub, Tail Glow. And actually with that, if Ricky could get the it all comes down to the Manaphy. If the Manaphy could come in, get behind a Sub, if he can Sub +1 Tail Glow, there's a chance for an upset, I'll say that. Especially if he's running the Surf Energy Ball set.
And even though he's shown the ability to capitalize like that, having those 2 setup moves without getting the sub broken, it's a tall order.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He would have to get it on the Crest. He would have to punish the Crest for coming out and trying to screen up or trying to whatever. The thing is, though, is if Gilbert calls it, because likely the Manaphy is going to be faster, right? I mean, Ricky would have to make the Manaphy. It would have to be a bulky Manaphy, but a Manaphy that is still faster than if Gilbert tried doing shenanigans of having like a, a timid Crest or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have to see what the calculation is on a timid Cresselia, and then make your Manaphy 1 speed higher. Because obviously Cresselia is not going to run a Choice Scarf, right? It's not going to be Scarfed. And you definitely don't want to Scarf your Manaphy, or I wouldn't anyways. So you would just have it bulky, right? You would probably have it physically defensive bulky with max HP or however else, right? And you wouldn't invest anything in the special attack because your special attack quote-unquote investment is going to come from getting a Tail Glow off anyways. So it would have to be something like that. But yeah, I see what you're saying. You kind of would have to get the sub up. If you immediately put all the pressure on Gilbert at that point, though, because you would have to sub up, and then at that point, like, so you can send him in on a Crest when you think Crest is going to light screen or blah blah blah, or do something else, or maybe you already have a paralyzed Mon out, so Crest isn't going to T-Wave again or something, and then you can if he does paralyze you, you can do a slow U-turn, right? You're slower, maybe he tries to Ice Beam you, it's not like it's a Crest, it's not going to do a lot anyways, and then you can U-turn out and go to Manaphy, and so now he almost has to switch, or you can get a free sub up. I mean, that's where it's going to be interesting. If he does get the sub Tail Glow, he has a good chance.
He does. Everything we just said, though, is assuming the Cresselia is defensive. And to be honest with you, given Pachirissi's Cups, I could actually see Gilbert running something like Timid, Max Speed, Max HP, Calm Mind, Life Orb, Crest, and I still don't think that thing dies easily, and it's actually much more of an offensive presence.
Yeah, he has shown that he's run so many different sets of that Crest. He's used it very well. Yeah, he could actually end up Calm Minding, and yeah, that could end up being...
That could be an issue.
Because, again, how does he deal with it, right? Like, does Ricky allow him? I don't know. I don't even know if Ricky could even have any say on it if he allows it to stay out as long. I don't know. The Melodic does have Haze, though, so he could always, if it does start doing that, Milotic can come out and kind of haze it. But I don't know, it'd be pretty interesting.
Real quick, does he have like a Toxic or even a Roar if that happens?
Well, the Milotic does have Dragon Tail.
Okay.
If it wants to use that. Obviously, both birds can run Whirlwind, as well as Flygon. They could run Whirlwind if he wanted to. I don't think he has a Toxic user. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it's not looking like it.
Now, that Quagsire does have Toxic as well, as he showed. That's when, he did pick that up earlier, so... it does have Toxic, so if he does get in on the Manaphy before the Manaphy can, or if he predicts the Manaphy trying to come in on the Quag, he could end up toxing that Manaphy, and that's it's usually never a good proposition, you know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so but all right, well, this video is already almost going on an hour long, so I would like to thank Zacchaeus again, man, for joining, and good to have you back. We did hear some good feedback on it, and people messaging on having you on. And like I said, thank you for filling in, and I enjoy having you on. Hope you have a chance to enjoy this weekend, but not too much, because hopefully you're hosting, you're commenting on these games with me. It looks like it's going to be a fun weekend. So is there anybody, again, now that I have you on this life-changing pedestal, anybody you want to thank that's different than last week?
I mean, I do have to thank you for, even just hopping in the Discord and asking if, like, scouting for this league in general, and for having me on here. Thanks to everybody that has scrimmaged with me. Ricky, I've actually told a lot of people I want to get destroyed in a practice match so I can learn something. Thank you for doing that. And to everybody else who scrimmaged with me or helped me, like, pick out sets or, like, point out some coverage I may have missed.
Yeah, true there, man. Yeah, and no problem. Like I said, you were one of the first person that, when I was trying to host this league, you were one of the probably first three people that ended up getting with me, and you kept your word. And it, like I said in the last one, without getting too mushy, man, without getting the tears in my eyes, right? So we're gonna have you on here, man. So, but yeah, that'll be it for this episode, this kind of video, and hope you guys enjoyed it. And those of you that are in the playoffs, good luck. Those of you that aren't, hope you guys still tune in. Hope you guys keep up. Hope you guys have had fun, the ones that have played their games and everything. And so good luck to everybody. Take care, and we'll post the times and everything once we find them out, which will be soon, probably about the time this video goes up. And good luck to everybody. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Yeah, have a good night, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Hope to see you there. And if you're not playing in the playoffs, I highly encourage that you watch. I think it's going to be a lot of fun anyway. And you might learn a thing or two, whether you're going to stick around for the next season or take that information somewhere else. I think it'll be good either way.
Yeah, good point. All right, guys, we will catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.